episode of Vanished Voices. Today we will be discussing Samantha Sperry. She's missing from Kentucky, and I'll go into details of where and everything here in just a few minutes. She has been missing since 2018. Samantha was a mother of two. She was from Callaway County, but disappeared in Graves County, Kentucky, which is Murray area, around the Murray, Kentucky area. At the time of her disappearance, she was struggling with some addiction, and she'd been through rehab, and I think her aunt was trying to get her back into rehab. But the story gets even more bizarre, more interesting. But let me go over a few details about Samantha. She had strawberry blonde hair. She was 5'6", between 120 to 130 pounds. She had a rose tattoo with the skull on her right shoulder, 2 roses and the word rose on the right side of her lower abdomen, a tiger lily and a sunflower on her left thigh. She did have her ears pierced, and it's, they said her eyebrow may have been pierced as well. I don't know for a fact. So let me tell you the original story that was told to investigators, and then we'll kind of get into some more details that I've uncovered as I've done some research. So the original story was that Samantha showed up at the home of Paul Holder, who was her boyfriend's uncle. He was her on and off again boyfriend. His name was Ren Hendrickson. They claimed she was upset and she had started walking toward the tree line. That's when they said that Ren's father, Dusty Holder, rode up on his ATV, and she said she just wanted to go for a ride, and they set off to an area known as Kaler Bottoms. So a little bit of the timeline of what we know for Samantha. On the afternoon of Tuesday, March the 27th, Samantha and Ren, which was her boyfriend at the time, showed up to Paul's house or Dusty's house. I've seen both. I'm not sure if maybe they lived together. Paul was Ren's uncle. Dusty was Ren's father. So I'm not sure, and they, of course, were brothers. So I'm not sure if they lived together, if it was Paul's house or Dusty's house. Regardless, that's where she showed up. Dusty said that Ren and Samantha had gotten into an argument. Ren says, no, we did not get into an argument. We're not quite sure. Of course, you don't have Samantha here to confirm. So Dusty and Samantha decided to go four-wheeling, and Ren said he was going to go back to Samantha's house in Murray, and Samantha stayed behind. Dusty's story goes that they got stuck in the mud, and it was close to nightfall, so they just stayed in the woods for the night. He said that they left the four-wheeler running so they could use the heat from the exhaust to stay warm, and eventually it ran out of gas. So on March the 28th, 2018, they walked out of the woods. Dusty said he went one direction and Samantha went another. Holder suggested that they he suggested to Samantha that they walk to a nearby Kaler Mart store, I guess like a little gas station maybe, where he could call his brother, he could get him a ride back, and Samantha said she was just going to go to her cousin's house that was nearby. So police then, of course, said that Dusty told him that he didn't question it, why she wanted to go that way. He said he was wet, cold, he was tired, and he just wanted to get out of the woods. He just wanted to get home. Now, Samantha's sister, Kim, said that family members had been trying to call and text her, but her phone was off. They also said that Ren was looking for Samantha as well, because she didn't return home from four-wheeling with his dad. So later that day, on March the 28th, same day, After Dusty had told Ren what happened, Ren placed a call to his mom, basically saying, "Mom, I'm just going to kill myself." He was going to take a bunch of pills. And he was just going to go out in the woods and be done. So Tyler, who is Samantha's brother, he's a member of the local volunteer fire department. He heard the call come in and he knew it was Ren. So he called his family and kind of told them, "Hey, we just got a call. Ren's threatening suicide." At that point he knew they hadn't heard from Samantha. So I guess he was just kind of in question of what was going on, and maybe they had heard something that he hadn't. So the night of March the 28th of 2018, the search crews did find an abandoned car. It was on Dunes Chapel Road at the Kentucky 131 intersection. That's just south of Simpsonia, Kentucky. Kim said that Tyler became very concerned when they found the car because it was Samantha's Ford Taurus. I believe they said it was a gold Ford Taurus. So Samantha said at that point her mom started to get more worried, even more that night when she called. Samantha was employed at McDonald's, the local McDonald's. She was supposed to go in at 9 that night. Her mom called and she did not show up. So Dusty, who, like I said, was Ren's father, called them Wednesday on the 18th, that evening, to say Samantha was missing. So it was already dark, so police didn't look any further for Ren until the next morning. They had had interactions with him before. He was known to be violent. He's been known to be armed. So they didn't want to try anything until daylight. So on Thursday. Then on Thursday, the police did announce that they were searching for both Samantha and Ren. So during the searches of the area, they located the four-wheeler that Dusty says, that he and Samantha spent the night on earlier the night before, 2 nights before. They found the keys to Samantha's car on the ground, which is a little strange. Like, they found her car off of another road, but her keys was out in the woods with the four-wheeler. How did her car get there? Apparently, my theory is the car had to get there before they went into the woods, but maybe Ren had another set of keys. I'm not sure. They didn't find anything that suggested foul play at that point, or anything that could lead them to Samantha or Ren. It was a wooded, swampy area, so, they didn't find anything. So now we've moved on to Sunday. This is April the 1st. Ren showed up at his father's house on his own, asking for help. He was dehydrated and hypothermic, and they said he was transported to the local hospital for treatment of his injuries, but Samantha was not with him. And I did look at, because they do have a page for her, Help Bring Samantha Home. When I looked on there, her aunt, who's been very involved with the page, the Facebook page, she's been very involved with the search for Samantha, says, they looked at the temperatures over the days that he was out, not home, that he was supposedly out in the woods, and the temperatures really didn't get cold enough that he should have been hypothermic at the time. But, some people get cold easier than others. They did question Ren. They questioned Dusty multiple times about her disappearance, and both of them passed the lie detector test. So both passed the polygraph. Samantha's sister, Kim, now said that Samantha had recently separated from her husband and had joint custody of the kids with him. So police said they interviewed the husband and Samantha's mother, her stepfather, multiple times, but haven't learned any significant information from those interviews. Her sister suspects foul play. Kim's exact words were, "She couldn't have got lost in the woods. We are out in the woods all the time. This is our hometown. She couldn't have got lost." So the sister doesn't really believe that she got lost in the woods. So police then have, since all this, they executed search warrants on Samantha and Dusty's home, but they didn't find anything of significance. But they did say that a week later, a Murray police officer found some blood in an undisclosed part of Samantha's home. And according to the aunt's Facebook post, that was inconclusive to what that was. There's more to that story. Just hold on to your pants, because the story gets even more twisty and turning. So they've worked with several rescue groups, K9 teams. They've searched for the whole Kaler Bottoms, where she was last seen. Of course, she was never found. They didn't find any physical evidence that she went missing under suspicious circumstances. So like I said before, foul play was not suspected at that time. But on March 29th, authorities did find Holder's four-wheeler, of course, we said, in the keys. They did find 2 cell phones as well that day, but they both belonged to Dusty. And they were in a small fire, ashes, and that were like where a small fire was built. I don't know why his phones would have been in the fire, but apparently nothing significant has come out of those phone record searches as well either. So they did find only 1 set of footprints around the four-wheeler, and 1 set coming out of the woods. Only 1 set of footprints. Okay, well, if it picked up on 1 set, if there was another person, there should have been 2 sets of footprints. So that tells me that Samantha did not come out of them woods. Whether she went into the woods, that's also another question. We don't know. We have nothing but Dusty's word on that. And again, there was no physical evidence, so they even showed that Samantha was even in that area. Nothing. Nada. What happened? Where was she? They searched the area. They didn't find her. So they interviewed several people. They do believe she was in Graves County on the 27th. But according to these witnesses and people that they've interviewed, she wasn't in the area where Holder, this is Dusty, claimed that she was. So Wren, of course, then let's go back to Wren for a minute, the boyfriend. He told the police that he spent 5 days in the woods. He'd added that he'd taken some items that belonged to him and Samantha and into the woods. Then he lost them, which doesn't make sense. He did admit that his memory and judgment was clouded due to drug use. So, I don't know why he would have done that, unless, like I said, he was under the influence of drugs, so they don't always make the best choices. So they did find what appeared to be blood in a car on Paul Hendrickson's property, which is the uncle to Wren. But that came back inconclusive as well. Well, that's the claim. It was inconclusive. So I'm going to read a statement from the aunt on 5/14/18. So May the 14th of 2018, Graves County Sheriff's Office officer says that there's no evidence saying her disappearance is suspicious. Yet, he said in an interview prior to that statement The bloody clothes were found in her home. A car on the Holder property had what appeared to be blood in it, and that there was blood on the ceiling inside her home. But they said that was all inconclusive. Look, I'm not here to judge police officers. I'm not here to judge family. I'm not here to judge anyone. But I can tell you, I've watched enough of these cases to know that sometimes the police just screw up. Sometimes they make mistakes. I mean, they're human. Was this a case of they didn't know exactly how to preserve the evidence? Why wasn't KSP called in from day one? Why wasn't the FBI notified from day one, or within a couple days at least? Well, during all this, while all this was going on, the sheriff at the time was brought up on drug charges. So, not saying that everything, but just maybe his judgment was clouded as well. So it started as a missing person. Then they said once evidence was found, I guess the blood and everything, while they was waiting for the lab and everything, then they moved it to consider it a criminal case, which took away any emergency management resources that they were using to help search. Well, later it was back to being a missing person case. When a records request was submitted, it was denied, stating it was a criminal case. Is it a missing person or is it a criminal case? Come on, folks, let's get the story right here. So, Western Kentucky Crime Stoppers and the family of Samantha Sperry are offering a $5,000 reward to the person or persons who provide information to law enforcement that results in discovering her location or results in the arrest of a conviction of someone who was involved in her disappearance. Anyone that may have helpful information to contact this agency or any law enforcement agency, including FBI, and we'll have the number up above, 502-263-6000, or Western Kentucky Crime Stoppers at 270-443-TELL, TELL. And of course, Kentucky State Police can be contacted, or the Graves County Sheriff's Office. So, and we'll have pictures posted and everything too. So, they've labeled it as the last time she was seen was March the 28th by Dusty, Ren's father. I'm not sure if that would be credible. The last credible sighting, I believe, would have been March the 27th, 2018. Regardless, her date missing is considered the 28th. So they say the verbal altercation between Ren and Samantha took place at the 4200 block of Tim Road, which is, I'm assuming that is not the area where Holder claims that they were. So he said Ren decided he's just going to take the car back to her home. He was going to spend the night there, and then Sperry left with his father. That's Ren's story. Like, we've got so many different stories here. So Ren says he took the car back to her home, but the keys were out in the woods. Unless I said he had a spare set of keys to the car. Then the car was later found somewhere else. We will have photos. The picture I have of Dusty Holder is not the greatest. It's a pretty small photo, but we'll have those located within the video here for you. So, but later, got that story, and then they took the four-wheeler. We know that. I told you guys all that. Well, later he said that he and Sperry got lost again. He stuck with that story. They got stuck in the mud. Well, according to Holder, they both came out of the woods, but investigators say they only found one set of footprints. He said they came out at Kaler Bottoms by the bridge near Highway 131 and Highway 849. He said they were cold, wet, and tired, and he just wanted to go get something to eat at the little food mart. But she never showed up, or she went a different direction. I haven't seen anything on who the cousin is, but apparently she was definitely not. She didn't go to her cousin's house. So the night after that, after they came out of the woods, so this would have been the 29th, Thursday, March the 29th, Holder told Wren what happened. Hendrickson, that's when he called his mom. That's when he told her he was going to take some pills and go off into the woods to die. That's when of course, that launched the whole search the next day. Like I said, they did find the four-wheeler. There was only one set of the footprints, which I said. The two cell phones both belonged to Dusty Holder, which, I don't know, 2018, people don't even have two cell phones now, but who am I to judge? Like I said, he said that they used the exhaust from the four-wheeler to stay warm, but yet there was a small fire with ashes. There's kind of ashes of a small fire were there. So there's a little bit that evidence didn't match the story. There's no, like I said, there's no evidence that she was ever in that area. And I'm hoping, surely they checked the footprints, and the footprints probably matched Dusty, and not Samantha. So Hendrickson then, like I said, when he came back, and he was taken to the hospital, and there will be a photo of him as well. So I don't understand why he says he took the items into the woods and lost them. That baffles me. Like, why would you take her stuff into the woods? Like, it doesn't make sense. So, like I said, they were both questioned multiple times. Both passed the polygraph test. But like I said, her sister doesn't think she's lost in the woods at all. That is definitely not what she said. They'd lived in that area their whole life. Like I said, and then the blood was found, then all of a sudden there was nothing that, it was inconclusive. It didn't amount to anything. Look, if you find blood in a car, you find blood in the home, blood on the ceiling, and bloody clothes, you're going to get some DNA that tells you whose blood that was. Even in 2018, we had DNA. So I'm not sure why they would say it was inconclusive, because out of all that, surely, but there's no proof that blood was even found either. We have to assume that it was, but like I said, she was separated from her husband. The family thinks she became a victim of foul play. But the circumstances of her disappearance is very unclear and still remains unsolved. Like, somebody knows something somebody out there knows something. They have to. She is listed on the National Missing Persons Registry. There's just not a whole lot out there. But I know they really they just want to find answers. They want to know what happened. I'm trying to see. I was trying to kind of. She was 25 at the time she went missing, which I think I told you all that. Dateline did a story on her. So last year in March, well, this coming up year, March the 28th, will be the 6-year anniversary of her disappearance. There's been no body discovered. There's been no sign of her. I did read somewhere, I forgot to jot that down, where there was a possible sighting, but it was never confirmed. I never seen anything to confirm it. I mean, she just vanished. And I'm going to say, even though the authorities and everything have labeled it March the 28th, I'm going to say she vanished on the 27th. Because I don't think she went into the woods. I really don't think she did. It sounds like all of this was a big plot to kind of clear the names. Like, we're going to say she was with me in the woods when something, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's a very interesting story. Like I said, any information that you have, if you knew who she was, if you remember seeing her around or about that time from the area, where you seen her, don't hesitate, call that in. That may be something that they don't have. Did you see her on the 27th? Did you see her on the 28th? Did anybody see her walking when she was headed toward the woods? We don't know. We just don't know. Like I said, the family urges anyone that knows anything just to please contact authorities. Her mom, Tina, I think has been very, very active also in this, but I mean, it's pretty heartbreaking to know that your child just disappeared. Like, they don't know where she's at. They don't know what happened. They haven't even been able to give her children closure. The family also believes that she disappeared on the 27th. Like I said, the car was found. That whole story just doesn't add up either. I can't find a whole lot on the uncle, Paul Holder. I'm not sure. Just not very. No, there's not much information on him, other than that was possibly his house. And we do know her mom, Tina, is the one that done the missing person report. They did say it's a remote, very rural, remote area in around Kaler Bottoms. I'm gonna try to find a map so I can kind of put that in perspective for you guys. And I'll try to have a map for you guys so y'all can see that. I mean, people they've been out through there on horseback, ATVs, the canines have all been out there. Nothing has turned up to be Samantha. So I'm trying to find out. I believe it was almost a year later before the FBI was called in. Like, I'm not quite sure how the FBI works, but I don't know that they're just sitting around looking at all these little local law enforcements and trying to see, well, do we need to step in? I'm they probably need somebody to call and say, hey, can you take a look at this? We're going to need some help with this one. We need some bigger people on this, because the stories are just not adding up. So they still, because it was an ongoing investigation, 1 year later, didn't release a whole lot of information. At this point, this is 2024. This is now a cold case. 1 year later, this was a cold case. There should have been more information released. How can they expect the community and people that see her story help or report anything if they're not releasing the information? Well, the new sheriff came in. He said he would continue to update the family. He said they've received many tips, bits of information that could be helpful. They've also dedicated a email address for information directly related to her disappearance. So we'll make sure to put that, link that in the description for you guys, as well as any contact information that we've been able to locate for her to make reports. So according to what the family, they're, like I said, they're going on March 27th. That's the date that they. The most recent update that I've seen that the police did was October the 1st of 2020. I'm trying to see what that. They did a press release. One year to the day from her disappearance, which I told you guys about that. At that point, they had local, state, and federal law enforcement there. It was held in Mayfield, Kentucky. Mayfield, and all that. That's all right there, kind of in that same general area. So the U.S. Attorney General's office was even there. The prosecutors from the Graves County Attorney's office was there. I mean, you have crime analysis, you have Kentucky State Police crime lab personnel, Kentucky State Police investigators. Most of these are seasoned detectives in criminal investigations, so they definitely know what they're doing. So an exam of the investigation was requested by their agency, and that was that 1 year later mark. 1 year before they called in for additional help. I don't understand why you wait so long. I think this is a word for the families. This is some advice to families out there that may be dealing with this. If you don't feel like your local law enforcement is doing the right thing, or you don't feel like they're handling it the way you want it to be handled, or if you think they need help and they are just not asking for it, call your local state police post, wherever you are. And call the FBI, there's somebody, you are the ones that need to make that step, make that call. Especially if you don't think they're doing it for you. It's important. You're the voice. You're the voice for these family members that are missing, or cases that are unsolved. Continue to be that voice. Continue to speak out. Continue to share their names, share their pictures for the families. Like I said, make sure you join her Facebook page. And I'll put that link in there. It's Bring Samantha Home is the Facebook page. Bring is a capital B. Then Samantha is all capital. Then Home is capital H. Then Home. From what I've seen, her aunt's the one that kind of monitors that and keeps that page up. I'm sure other family members, her sister, I think, is involved with that, Kim, as well. Trying to see. I mean, this was in October of 2020. Hayden, who was the sheriff at the time, said that, it still remains a high priority for them. He was still the sheriff of McCracken County in late March when Graves authorities, that's the Graves County Sheriff, were called to the area. So he was not the sheriff at the time. He was the sheriff, but not in that county. He was McCracken County, which is Kalo's in the northern part of that county. So, and the report that I see here, this is where the story keeps going. It baffles me. It says she'd been reported missing after a man had been found injured and suffering hypothermia and had spent the night in the woods after crashing an ATV that he and Sperry were apparently riding. And then he said that they became separated. So Dusty's story first says, he says that they got out there and got stuck in the mud. Then it says he got injured and he crashed the ATV. Like, his story just keeps on changing. So Hayden, who was the current sheriff that took over the case, he retired from McCracken County. Then he was appointed for Graves County in 2019, about the 1-year anniversary. So when Hayden came in, is once KSP was called in, FBI, all that was called in. Like I said, they just want people to know if they have any information, reach out. He said just because they don't have updates very often does not mean that this case is being seen as a cold case or being put on the shelf. I mean, at some point it's considered, even if they are working tips, it still would be considered, I would think, a cold case. But like I said, if you know something, if you've seen something, speak up. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure you hit that notification bar so you know when I put out more videos. Like, subscribe to the channel, and share these people's stories with people. Share them on your Facebook. Share them on wherever you have access. Share them with these people. Make sure you use the hashtags I mentioned. For this case, please use the hashtag Help Bring Samantha Home. Thank you guys, and y'all have a great day.